Warning. Warning. The following video will consist of a fan theory for a potential special for a potential special of involving copyrighted material owned by Comedy Central, Paramount Pictures, Viacom, Trey Parker, and Matt Stone, the current rights owners of South Park. While this theory video may also possess political ramifications for what will happen in the real world, this episode is strictly a fan theory. It may or may not happen in real life. All characters' names, including those based on real people, are based on their fictitious representations, and actions are owned by the creators and thus covered on creators. This video is of my property and covered under the Fair Rights Usage Act of 1976. Just because I say stuff doesn't mean you can throw me off or bar me from saying it. That said, let's get started. Okay, so we're about a little less than 7 weeks out from the 2022 midterm elections. I do believe that South Park, Trey and Matt are going to pull a midterm special off sometime before Halloween. Now, what would the plot possibly be for this special? Here's how I'd see it. One way it could go is it could be that we bring an old character who's been basically pushed to the background since season 21 back to the forefront. I know she wasn't really all that liked, but I think it's time to bring her back to the forefront since, if given the chance, they could have made her into a pretty decent detective. That being Heidi Turner. I mean, she may have a short fuse, compliments of her father, but her mother's intellect does shine through from time to time, and insight does shine through from time to time. Having sensed that something was wrong with the last election and through the whole COVID pandemic, and yes, I am fully aware that in South Park canon, it was started by Randy Marsh and Mickey Mouse fucking a pangolin and a bat, respectively. And if you watch the post-COVID special, Randy admits going back in time wouldn't have stopping him from fucking the pangolin and wouldn't have stopped COVID, because in every timeline, he'd fuck it anyway. But again, that's South Park's canon explanation for the COVID pandemic, not mine. So she decides to put an investigation team together. And she rounds up into her circle Kyle, Wendy, Butters, Cartman. Yes, I know this is a bad combination, especially when you consider Butters and Cartman. Why? Look at it this way. Season 20, Cartman and Heidi started dating after Heidi committed Twitter suicide, compliments of the troll Skankhunt 42, a.k.a. Gerald Broflovsky, Kyle's own dad. But they worked together to deduce the troll's identity through the emoji analysis engine that Heidi came up with. However, it was near the end of that season when Cartman found out that the troll trace would also track non-troll calls, i.e., and store up non-troll tags, i.e., his opinion on the 2016 Ghostbusters remake, and it would reveal how much of a hypocrite he was to Heidi. So, Kyle, and Butters basically pulled him down that road. And for those wondering, I also read a South Park Persona 5 crossover, but I'll get to the point of that. But I'll get to that in a bit. Anyway, Heidi doesn't know that it was Butters that basically turned Cartman back to the sociopath that he was, and basically turned him into the manipulative piece of garbage we've always known and despised because of it, and basically turned her into a female version of him throughout the course of season 21. Thank God for the breakup. up at the end of that season. That being said, however, this will lead to a slew of things, like the true origin of COVID, where now theories are flying out that either it was an American, some are saying the virus was created here in America, others saying a biolab in Ukraine that shipped it out to China and released it in the Wuhan lab. Theorists, not what I'm thinking. Or that it was Fauci who helped fund it and helped try to weaponize it, and it was nowhere near as powerful as people claimed it is. And he used the Democrat Party connections in the media to peddle how deadly it is to justify the bull crap everyone's gone through for the last 2.5 years in real life, and also to rig an election and all that jazz, as again, idiot into the power, and so forth. The question here in the wild cards are going to be Butters and Cartman. Will Cartman even bother working with his ex-girlfriend, number one? And number two, which Butters are we going to get? Are we going to get the Inspector Butters, who's a decent enough investigator, as naive as he is in his own right? Or will we get the Professor Chaos Butters, who will basically who will work with Cartman to undermine and sabotage the investigation? That's the question. Also, we could throw Randy and Gerald under the bus. I mean, yeah, Randy is more or less back to being the geologist he used to be and is more or less given up on Integrity Weed, but I think a part of him may still have a inkling to do at least one last special before he shuts the farm down for good and moves back into town with his family. You're also wondering, where does Gerald mix into this? If it wasn't for the fact that Trey and Matt didn't have the hindsight to do an episode where Trump won, because they assumed Hillary Clinton was going to win the 2016 election, and they wouldn't have had to backwrite the entirety of season 20, which was basically one of the biggest cases of Trey and Matt shooting themselves in the foot and screwing the pooch on a season, on a single season. Kyle works with Heidi to figure out that not only it was Randy that maybe Randy did not cause the COVID pandemic by fucking the pangolin. But more importantly, she basically basically tells him to come clean about his dad being skank hunt. Now, for those wondering where did all these tie in, again, this goes back to the Persona South Park fanfic I read. Long story short, the Phantom Thieves basically blow all the dirty secrets out of the water. One, that again, in South Park canon, Randy caused the COVID pandemic and sent his pandemic special giving everyone mustaches that got him infected with the COVID virus. Two, Kyle's dad was Skank Hunt. The third one comes a little later in the story. But basically what happens is Sharon and Sheila snap on Randy and Gerald respectively. Sharon takes Shelly and Stan back to their home with most of the furniture cut in half. And Gerald is basically driven out of the house and and is forced to crash with Randy on Integrity Farms. He's forced to crash with Randy on Integrity Farms. Once the whole school finds out about both their father's actions, most of the kids basically treat Stan and Kyle like pariahs. Lone exceptions being Wendy and Heidi. However, that doesn't do much as Stan goes into a downward spiral of depression to the point where he wants to die. Kyle, on the other hand, teams up with Heidi to try to get who work in elite alongside the Fan Thieves to snap his father out of what he's become. And you're probably wondering, And yes, this is where the basis of my hatred of getting trolled comes from. Gerald claimed he was a satirist, saying that he only said stuff that wasn't funny because he wanted to make people laugh. There's a difference between me, and I will admit I am a troll in some cases, but I'm not. But more often than not, I don't do it behind a keyboard. And when I do it, it's a con. When I do troll, it's at conventions. But it's not the malicious kind of trolling. The kind of trolling I do is that of a quipper. I'm a quipper. What does that mean? It simply means when I go up to a cosplayer, or if the cosplay is from a series I'm familiar with, I will make a non topical comment related to the series while trying not to be crude and offensive and basically make a remark relative to the show. The only problem that makes it come off as malicious is my inflection, tone of voice, and body language. Basically, how I come off is what makes it seem like that I'm a troll. Anyone who knows me knows that's not the case in my case when I do it. Essentially, when I say something, I have no intention of hurting somebody. I don't intend to hurt somebody. I'm just making a topical comment on the costume or a series related to the character the person is cosplaying as. Gerald, on the other hand, would drink his memberberry wine, and be the malicious jerk that he was, knowingly and intentionally hurting people, well, with his words. He basically caused a gender war and numerous breakups and never owned up to it. Here, in the story, they make him own up to it. But I'm getting back. Oh, the third thing I mentioned, they expose PC principal and strong woman's little which leads to them getting pink slipped via Rule 13 of the school charter, i.e., no sexual intercourse or romantic relationships between coworkers. Platonic and sibling S relationships, fine, but taking it to the romantic level, no. Now, getting back to the special, to the midterm special. Does Heidi rekindle her relationship with Cartman, or does she go to Kyle? I honestly think she chooses the middle ground, chooses neither of them. And Butters, when she finds out he's the reason that Cartman turned back to the pig that he was, she's gonna punch him. She's gonna punch him. But then again, Cartman's been this jerk that he's always been for the last 20 plus years. However, I don't think Cartman joins the group right out of the gate. Why? Given his. I mean, you people know how he always mocks Kenny for being the poor kid. Well, now it's official. Living in a hot dog cart, he's the poor kid. So now, if he wanted to, Kenny could turn that on Cartman. But Kenny's one of the nicest kids in South Park, despite all the crap that happens to him. And despite his vulgar mouth and perverse fantasies. Do I think Kenny would do that? No, he wouldn't. Even for someone as obnoxious a dickwad as Cartman is. He is Eric Theodore Cartman. That said, back to the special, back to the plot. As their investigation gets closer and closer to the truth, the government starts to close in on the school. More so with Fauci as the antagonist. Why? It's a cover-up operation. He's doing this as a cover-up. He'll probably try to quarantine the kids, and it will be up to Stan, Kenny, Craig, Tweak, Tolkien, and Bebe to bust them out. But I think most of the heavy lifting would be done by Kenny, Stan, Tolkien, Craig, and Tweak. Screw Clyde. Does Cartman get involved? Possibly. And why would they go after Heidi to try and infect her with the bug? Because she knows too much. At that point, if Cartman does get involved and see what's about to happen, he charges in, takes the vaccine bullet for himself, while Kyle storms in, jumps on the Fauci, and stabs him with a vaccine needle in the heart. And they both get the bug. And where Cartman can be saved by a massive amount of ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and zinc tablets, the same will not be said for Fauci, as he will be left to rot on the floor from his own virus. When that happens, it gets out throughout the globe. Not only did Fauci lie, which caused people to die, but so many other people were complicit in it. Does this lead to Biden getting arrested and the dimwit not knowing it? Now, if Trey and Matt play on Joe's mental incompetence, I wouldn't mind it. Would this get Garrison, who was the Trump stand-in, back in the White House? Probably not. Probably not. Because let's face it, Garrison, while the Trump stand-in, I don't think he has the same kind of intellect as Trump does. As far as I see it. But at the very least, it would permanently put an end to COVID, at least in the South Park timeline. Everyone learning the truth about everyone's actions. Gerald being put under strict supervision to never again troll by way of a security camera that in his office that'll keep tabs on him if he tries to troll anybody. And God damn it. I knew this was going to happen with Washington Atlanta today. I just fucking knew it. I just want the Braves to lose just one fucking game this week. And does this happen? Not against this fucking group of clods. Not against a group of clods known as the Washington Nationals who play with a defeatist mindset. Let's see how William got that home. Billy Boy got it home. Single and another throwing error. Paulo, you should have just let that one stick in your pocket. Why? Because if you had left it in your pocket, it would have been bases loaded and 2 out. Not runners on second and third and down one with 2 out. You half-wit son of a bitch. I mean, seriously, a 3-year hangover over that title. Anyway, my point is this. Trey, Matt, can you try to use some of what I suggested for your midterm election special if you opt to have one this year? Not one of your biggest fans, but I am a fan. That's all I'm asking, Mr. Parker and Mr. Stone. In any case, leave a comment, smash the like, and sub to the channel. Mets 2128 signing out. Goodbye. Good good fucking night. Bang.